here. I'm here this morning to do the review for the anime to go with the manga that I reviewed last week, One Punch Man by One. I'm gonna do the quick summary again. It's just still follows the same character, Saitama. He can kill anything in one punch. He's one of the most overpowered men in this universe. I think he is considered the strongest man, uncontested, at least on Earth. It's a lot of fun to go with, and even though I really enjoyed the manga, I really enjoyed how the anime gave the characters a lot of personality that I'll get into a little bit later. I still really enjoyed it, even after reading the webcomic and reading the manga as well. Moving on, I'll go to my likes and dislikes. They're very similar to what I found with the manga, just because I'm basing everything off of the webcomic, which is the first thing I read. My first like is the composition. I really like how it carried through, and I don't know if this is typical for a lot of manga to anime, because I've never read manga and then watched anime, but the shows are basically scene for scene pulled right from the webcomic and the manga, and I absolutely love it because it kept that really, really impressive composition. And the art style that they used for the animation, especially the sketchy style that they used for the movement, was just amazing. And I loved the way it kept the feel of the webcomic and the manga, but still had that little twist of its own personality from the animators, and it was just brilliant, and I love how it worked out. My second like is the voice acting. Although I do watch the version that is subbed and not dubbed, so it's English subtitles, and I listen to the original Japanese voice actors. I love the actors they picked. They all fit their characters so well. The guy who voices Saitama I adore, because he's able to have that kind of bland, round voice when Saitama's not on guard, for lack of a better term, and he is able to make his voice hard and sharp when he means business and is getting ready to fight, and I love that it's able to convey the personality of the character so much. And I find the same thing with the other characters. Just the voices fit them so well. They did a really good job with casting, and I have no complaints. My third like for the anime is just the sense of fun that it brings to the table. I really enjoyed the manga, and it was a lot of fun, but seeing it not just in panels, but in action sequences, and having, as I mentioned, the great cast doing the voicing and just really bringing the emotions to life was amazing. And just the sense of fun I get while watching it is just, it blows my mind. I cannot believe that they did such a good job with it. I really can't say anything else. It's just amazing. Now I'll go to my negatives or my dislikes. They're very similar to what I had with the manga. It's a very slow start. I would actually argue that it's a bit harder the anime would be a bit harder to get into than the manga, because until you get to about episode 4, a lot of it is world building and character building. You're getting introduced to Saitama and Genos and how they meet and how they're moving forward and getting their dynamic really set up. And while that's fun to watch, their interpersonal interactions, the issue is that the rest of the story doesn't really take off until about episode 4 is kind of where my fiance and I agree it really starts to do the series justice. The other negative I had mentioned when I did my manga review was the fact that there's a lot of one-off characters that you don't really see as much. And I find, because there's a lot more crowd work in the anime, there are certain characters that will come up a little bit more often. Not that you necessarily interact with them, but they get built into the background of the world, and that continuity is nice, but it's still not quite what I wanted. It's still not necessarily going back to some of those one-off characters and really bringing them back into the fore and pulling them into the story a little bit more. That's really all I have for dislikes. Like I said, I found this to be very well done. I really enjoyed it. My enjoyment of the anime is easily on par with my enjoyment of the webcomic and the manga. So with that, I'll move to the characters. I'm going to talk about the same 3, Saitama, Genos, and Speed of Sound Sonic. I'll just call him Sonic from here on out, because that is a mouthful. Saitama is the same, still has all the same personality traits. He's pretty chill, he's a little bit bored. He's very trope breaking, and to see it in action is really, really fun. And he's a very complex character, which was really unexpected. Even in the manga, there's multiple things going on. He's a very layered character, but I found it really came to the fore a lot more with his character in the anime. And I think part of it just because they were able to convey boredom through the emotion in the voice a little bit more, and not just and having a fluid sequence of images rather than just panels, I think helped convey that emotion a little bit better as well. He's still a lot of fun to follow, and his still overarching question with his character growth is, what can you do once you've reached peak? Because he's taken the physical obstacle out of being a hero, out of being a superhero specifically, because he's really in no physical danger, and it's just how does he get his mind to the right space for that. Next I'll go to Genos. It's a lot easier to get an idea of Genos as a cyborg. Although it is shown well in the manga, I found it was really emphasized and almost like they really leaned into the cyborg with a tragic backstory. I found him very interesting. You get a lot of time too with the doctor that helped build him. That plus his like stereotypical tragic background just made for the first few interactions with Saitama really interesting, and they played out really almost frame for frame as it did in the manga. So like the continuity between the two is just brilliant. Again, I can't say it enough. Him becoming Saitama's disciple is I'd say more interesting, just because you get a lot more with his notebook and the notes he's taking of Saitama as he's studying him to try to become the next big thing. And that was a lot of fun to watch. And then you move into Sonic, and the malevolence and insanity that they're able to convey with his voice, and like the shading that they're doing in the anime that wasn't in the manga, because manga's just black and white, was both crazy and mind-blowing, but completely brilliant. It really, really amped Sonic's character up to another level, because he still has that like really unhinged, unscrupulous attitude, and the way it translates over into his rivalry with Saitama and his like single-mindedness at beating Saitama was really, really interesting. And it was a lot more fun to see because, again, just the way the voice actors were able to bring emotion and personality to the characters on screen was just amazing, and it really highlighted the aspects of the character that were the most entertaining, which with Sonic was kind of like the bad things, like he's evil, unscrupulous, slightly unhinged, makes him fun to follow, but not for good reasons. And the characters overall, like all the other side characters you run into, they all get the same treatment. Like, just because you're not a main character, you're a side character that appears in only a handful of episodes, it doesn't seem to matter. They all got these great voice actors, and the animators just did a brilliant job with the characters, bringing them to life and making their movements fluid and consistent with their fighting types. And all I can really say about the characters is they stuck very close to the personalities. I'd say identical to the personalities that you have in the book, and they just brought them to life in the best way possible. All right, so now it's time for my rating and wrap up. I love this anime. I can't say it enough. I love the way it adapted from the manga, the way it pulled frame for frame, the way it brought the characters to life in the best way, with both just this brilliant and beautiful animation and amazing voice acting. I really can't say enough that this is my go-to when I need something quick and easy and entertaining. It's always fun to watch. It's never, as much as you like the characters, it's not emotionally taxing like some other shows are. And with that, I will, I'd recommend it. I really recommend this show to anybody who's interested in something fun, entertaining, and action-packed. And now I'll move into my rating. So, in terms of rating, this is a really easy one for me. The show unto itself, just as the video as a form of entertainment, without taking the manga and webcomic into consideration, it's really good. The trope-breaking character is fun to follow, the voice acting is great, the animation is pretty, and the story just really pulls you in. It's easy, it's fun, and I can't get enough of it. Easily, I'm giving this a 5 out of 5 as a standalone show. It's like, I know it's not perfect, it's probably a little bit or a lot of bias in there, but it's easily one of my favorite shows. and I watch it regularly. In terms of a book to movie adaptation, this is also a 5 out of 5. That being said, I'm not sure if this is typical of manga to anime, but they were just able to pull everything frame for frame. The art style was very inspired by the manga, and the composition goes back all the way to the webcomic. And they pull frame for frame, and it's just brilliant. They keep everything in there, which is great because everything is worth keeping in. And I can't get over how brilliantly executed this adaptation was. This is one of the first manga and animes that I'm reading and watching simultaneously, so I'm not sure if this is typical of anime. Maybe if somebody knows, you can leave a message below in the comments for me to let me know. But I love the way everything adapted over, and it just did it so seamlessly and perfectly that I have no complaints. Let you guys know, I'll put the link for the webcomic down below if anybody is interested in starting with the webcomic. Also, the first season is free on Netflix if anybody's interested in starting the anime. The second season has recently come out, but I believe it's on an American-only streaming service, and I don't remember which one it is because I don't have it here in Canada. And with that, I will see you guys in the next video. Bye.